Hello, hello. How's everyone feeling? Guys, we made it. We saved the best for last. Thank you for being here today. Today we have a very exciting presentation from our Community Member of the Year. Please give it up for Colemen Wilson.
Thanks so much, Kennedy. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am super excited to be here. This is probably the only place in time you'll ever hear a presentation about governance described as very exciting, because typically it is not a very exciting topic. But I'm excited about it. I'm feeling really good, really happy that you're all here. I know it's been a long conference, but so happy to have you here. I'm a bit nervous, so I have some speaker notes, and they're not actually notes. They're just pictures of cute puppies for when I get nervous. Yeah, so cute. So this will help me out. This will help me feel good. One thing you should know that Peter on my team will tell you is that I ramble a lot. I'm already rambling, and we're like 30 seconds in. So what I want to practice is if I start to ramble, can you just say, Coleman, take a breath? Let's hear it. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that'll help me keep slow. That'll help stop me when I'm rambling. So if I do start to ramble or my voice starts cracking, just tell me to take a breath. I'll take a pause. My topic is cultivating a community of empowered users. And I feel like you may have been a little misled with, on the Domopalooza website, it says, embark on a transformative journey. That's not really gonna happen. Maybe you'll be transformed. I'm a community member, like many of the, I'm probably a lot in the room, but there's a bunch of coaches right here that I get to compete with every day to climb the ranks in the Domo community. But we're all about helping other people and showing them cool things. And today, what I wanted to make sure I did is there's gonna be no fluff. There's gonna be no thought leadership or anything like that. Like, I just want to show you solutions and do like a long format demo slam of things that we've done. They might not be the best way, you may have better ways, but just ways we've tried to navigate in Domo and find a solution where there aren't any native functionality or features within Domo to do certain things. Let me get my clicker here. So, quick introduction. I should start with this. Coleman Wilson, Senior Manager, Business Intelligence at Henry Schein One. That's me when I had more hair. And that's a QR code to connect with me on LinkedIn. My favorite part, and I talked about this on the main stage yesterday, about the community and about Domopalooza, is connecting with people. I've already met like so many cool people from companies all around the world. Please scan that. No one's pulling out their phones. Okay, there go a couple. You guys are like, we don't want to connect with this guy. No. Please connect with me. I need more friends. Scan the QR code to connect with me on LinkedIn. Quick about me, just some pictures. There's my wife, there's my cat. That's where I lived. It's up in the mountains right outside of Salt Lake here. We got 1.5 feet of snow 2 days ago up there, so it's still winter in full force. I love to travel, and I'm a data guy, so this is a map of all the places I've traveled to. And then I also love hiking, backpacking, camping. A little about me. Professionally, a little bit about me. In 2014, I was like, I'm gonna be an investment banker, work 100 hours a week, move to New York. Quickly realized that was not for me. So after I graduated, instead of going to finance, I went to a small company called PackSize, which I think we have a PackSizer somewhere in the room. I was talking, other pack sizers. You guys got to connect. You didn't even know you were here together. Met someone who's like, hey, that's stupid. Look at data, look at Domo. Don't use Excel spreadsheets. And I was hooked. I was like, going to do a total 180. I'm going to go into BI and analytics. And that was in 2015. 2020, became Major Domo certified. Went back to school during the pandemic. Got a master's degree in information systems just to really this is the track I want to be on. In 2023, as I shared on the main stage, I was like, I've been in a rut since I started using Domo in 2015. I want to level up. I want to do more. So I got involved in the Domo community, became a Domo community coach, Ovation Award winner, Demo Slam winner. Not to brag, just to show my involvement. It's not bragging. Okay. Just want to show my excitement and my involvement in the Domo community. But as you can see here, I really put all my sticks in one basket, going full in on Domo. It's exclusively the tool that I've used. I've never even like used Tableau or Power, well, kind of, but not really. It's just been Domo the whole way, and I've loved doing it. Okay, gotta do the, oh man, company overview. We'll go through super quick because I have to do this. 2,000 plus team members, 100,000 dental practice. Oh, what are we? World's largest dental technology company. 2,000 plus team members, 100,000 practices worldwide, operations in 12 countries. Here's some awards we've won. They really wanted me to point out the Artificial Intelligence Excellent Award because it's a data conference. You have to talk about AI. So. Like, make sure to talk about that one. So that's who we are. Here's some of our products. If you've ever gone to the dentist, they have used one of these products. It's like almost guaranteed. But we have over 60 products. We're called Henry Schein One because they all are meant to work together as one, and we're a company of companies. And so Domo's been cool. And this is not even part of my talk track. Say the thing I told you all to say. Okay, I gotta stay on track. Our Henry Schein One's focus is to empower dentists to focus on patient care by ensuring practice success, and this graphic shows how we do that. Cool, check that off the list. Okay, I think in the description of the session, it uses this phrase, shopkeeper versus gatekeeper. I did not coin that, and Ben Schein called me out on LinkedIn because I posted about this, and he said I need to give credit to Donald Farmer. Not sure if he's in the room or even still uses Domo, but in 2020, he did an awesome presentation on this analogy of shopkeeper versus gatekeeper that I loved and always talk about. My team has heard me say that a ton. We need to be shopkeepers, not gatekeepers. So credit to him for that in 2020 and teaching me all about that. So what does that mean? In Domo, you can choose to be one or the other, or there's even, I guess there's other options, but you can choose to be a gatekeeper. You can say, no one's coming into Domo. We're locking everything down. No democratization of data. We're going to stand in front, and we, the BI team, the data team, whoever, we do everything. You do nothing. You're not allowed to. You can come in and look, but you can't touch anything, do anything. The other end is like shopkeeper, or well, I guess the farther end is like Wild Wild West. Like anyone can do everything. Everyone's an admin. You have 500 admins in Domo. Everyone can do whatever they want. That's like Wild Wild West. But then in the middle is shopkeeper. And that's just like it sounds, someone who is running a shop. Actually, I'll show you. Well, let me show you the opposite first. Let me show you, I have a video on gatekeeper, or no, bad shopkeeper. Okay. Maybe I have to. All right. Who's been in this kind of a situation in their Domo instance? Everything's nice and neat, and then, oh! Raise your hand if that's ever been you. That's never been me. I can't relate. Okay, here's another example. Let's see if this will. Very ominous. So scary, this music. Yeah, we don't want that. So these are both examples, I think, of obviously. How do I stop this? Both those videos are, I think, examples of companies trying to do their best, right? They have shelves, they have tables, they have locks on their doors, right? They're trying to do a good job, but maybe there's additional things they could do to help it be a shop and not, wild, wild west like it kind of is in these two. But that's hard, right? If Apple can't always do it, how are we expected to be able to always do it? So, okay. Once again, like I said, it can't be a data conference without talking about AI. So this is all you get for AI. I generated some images with AI. This is from a prompt of Gatekeeper. And so these are all some gatekeepers. It was so hard to get diversity here. That's like people in the AI space need to work on, say the thing. Okay, getting off track. Okay, here's some AI-generated images of shopkeepers. So you got a couple of produce shop, whatever, antique shop. These are some shopkeepers. Okay. There you go. So those are kind of the two examples of of gatekeeping versus shopkeeping. Obviously, this is much better, right? If we go back to the gatekeeper, right? Like no one can come in, no one's getting past any of these people, except maybe Peter because he's a 4th degree black belt. He might get past them, but like I'm not. We want to be more like this, inviting and like letting people in, but making sure we have like controls in place to make sure things don't get crazy. We have security guard, we have someone to produce person to help you bag stuff and weigh stuff. Old man taking care of his antique shop, making sure everything's in a place, can't get broken. We want to do the same thing with our instance. And so, as you saw in that last image, those were all shopkeepers of one. There's just one there. And who here feels like they have adequate staff to manage their Domo instance? Well, you're a team of one, and so yeah, you're good. Not very many hands, 2 hands, because I think we all feel like we could have more people on our team. We could have more help, but often there's budget constraints, other constraints where we can't have more people. So that's where power users come in. And I have a couple of my power users in the room, which is so exciting. Raise your hand if you're a power user at my company. There's one who I'm going to embarrass later. Here's one who I'm not going to embarrass. You lucked out, Zach. Elliot's getting embarrassed. Power users are huge because what we've tried to do is essentially make them quasi-BI team members. We invite them to our BI on-site events. We invite them to follow our same standards. We truly try and treat them, hey, we know you're not on our team, but we want to pretend like you are, and we want to treat you as if you are. And that's led us to be able to not need to spend additional money or increase our budgets, but to have more help. And that's why I really value power users. So how do we do this? First off, before anyone can get into Domo, we use prerequisite training. So you can't just jump in right away. You have to put forth a little effort. It's a small barrier to entry that helps you be more invested as a user in the tool because you've already put something into it. Even if you're not a content creator, you've invested. Also, you start off on the right foot. You don't just show up and be like, what am I looking at? What is this? You reduces your support too on the BI team of having to fulfill those requests. The other thing we've used is custom roles, which I'm surprised, like not everyone knows about custom roles, but that you can create a custom role. You don't have to use editor, admin, privileged, whatever. You can create your own custom roles that can allow you to fine tune who does what and how they experience Domo, which is huge. Another thing we use is achievements, which we love, and we just learned, I'm going off again. Say the thing. That's all I need to say about achievements. The next thing is the standards that the BI team follow, which I'll show you in a minute. We also ask power users to follow those as well. A couple here, naming conventions, documentations. And then also we have an exceptions tracker that we on the BI team use to make sure we're following our standards. But we also extend it to our power users and say, hey, follow our same standards. Use this tool to make sure you are following those standards and that we're all on the same track. Yeah, can we come back to that at the end? I want to make sure I have time to get through everything, but we'll do questions at the end, so please raise your hand toward the end of the presentation. Okay, so I wanted to show you, I said I was going to embarrass Elliot. So I want to pull up, can we switch to the demo? Yeah, okay. So I got Elliot Leonard here, who is very famous in the Domo community. He just joined our company, but he's surprisingly not on the BI team. I know, it's shocking. He's on the Salesforce team, but he is a power user because he is like really involved in the Domo community, longtime Domo user. So we brought him in, and he qualified to be a power user. So we identified him as such. That's the first thing we did, is we added an achievement to his profile. You are a Domo power user. It's a formal award. There's a description on why he's a power user that stays on his profile. Other people know he's a power user. We let his boss know, and the executives know, like, hey, this person is a power user. We're grateful for all they do, and they know their stuff. So awarding that badge is something that we've found to be helpful in empowering people and recognizing them, and also letting other people know this person knows their stuff. Let's see. I think that's all I want to say about power users. The next topic, also, did I mention this is kind of just like a demo slam? It's me just sort of like showing solutions, showing things we're doing. So you may think like, man, these are not super related. I'll try my best to weave it all together. But the next thing we do that's a part of our governance is certified pages and UAT. So I wanted to show an example of a certified page. up at the top here, you'll notice you can't like certify a page natively in Domo like you can with cards and data sets. So we created our own little symbol up in the top right. This is a one card that's used across all pages, so it has a unique ID and allows us in the back end to say, oh, if a page has this card on it, that means that it's certified. So we can run reports, we can see certified pages, but also we have a visual indicator to let people know that this page has been certified. So what does that mean? Cards and data sets have requirements to become certified, and it's a standard process within Domo. This is not, so how do we get to this point where we have a certified page? That comes into also I should touch on why certification is important. I think it's pretty obvious, helps distinguish between what is trusted, what is valuable, what is sanctioned, whatever, and what is not. Because Domo is self-service, anyone can create anything. This tells people, BI team made this, BI team validated this, etc. Okay, so better customer experience, ensures requirements are met, and provides all the same benefits of other certified content in Domo. So this is the way we did it. Once again, maybe not the best way. I'd love to hear your guys' ideas of how you've done certified content where it's not natively available in Domo. This is the way we've done it. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about was UAT. In order for a dashboard to get certified, it has to pass UAT, which is user acceptance testing, which for the most part means the user or the requester of this page or the people using it, it needs to it needs to be accepted by them. And so that means it needs to function how they want it to function. But also, I think the most important, for me at least, part of UAT is that they're saying this data is accurate. Because we on the BI team don't have the same domain knowledge that someone in finance or marketing or operations or product that they have. They're close to the data. They understand it very well. So it's really important that they have some skin in the game, that they certify it, that they verify it, and that they say, yes, this is right. It's also great for, if you're a data person, a BI person, a developer, for covering your ass, because if it turns out that the data's wrong, you can say, well, let me pull up the UAT, which is linked in the top of the page right there under the documentation. Let me link to that and show you, Grant Smith said this was right, and so go talk to him. If it's wrong, he's the one to talk to, because we followed their requirements. We did do our validation. We did do our due diligence, but ultimately, they're much closer to the data than we are, and it has passed UAT. So how do we do UAT? It's honestly pretty simple. It probably could be improved with apps, sexy apps. It could be improved. We just use an Excel workbook because most of the people that need to do UAT are not like app people. They're generally like Excel people. So we just do it in an Excel workbook. We have all the content on the page. We ask them to do pass-fail, let us know what passed, what failed, and if it failed, why, the date, who they are, who their executive roll-up is, so that we have all that stored in the UAT details, which live demo, I should have double-checked this. Okay, live demo is working. So you can see we have links to all of the cards on the page. Let me scroll over. Yeah, we have all the cards, we have the links, we have the IDs, page ID, who the UAT authority is, which is the executive roll-up, who's responsible to do UAT, pass, fail, if it failed, failure explanation, expected metric, blah, blah, blah. So once that's been completed, and a few other checks from the BI team, page is certified. People can trust it. They can know this is a good source of truth to get insights from. Am I doing on time? Oh, we got so much time, guys. This is awesome. I'm cruising through. Okay. Documentation. Oh, you guys can't see my slides. You're seeing my screen still. That's okay. Keep it there. Keep it on the demo. Documentation. I don't think I need to talk too much about why documentation is important, but I will. Increases data literacy, promotes collaboration, increases productivity, allows you to work asynchronously, easier onboarding, prevents duplicative work. That's a hard word. Duplicative work. We all, I hope, know the value of documentation, but who's actually doing documentation? Well, you're on my team, so yeah, of course you are. We talk a lot about documentation, but it's often neglected, and we don't always do it because a lot of the value in documentation is to help those around us, right? It's sort of the wearing a mask during the pandemic. It's really not for you, it's for everyone else. And so many people chose not to wear masks. It's the same here, right? Documentation mostly, it does help you too, but mostly helps others. And so maybe for that reason, people are less anxious to or less willing to do it. But it is so important for all the reasons I just listed and many more. And even for yourself, right? All the time I go back and I'm like, man, what did I do? That was 2 years ago. Pull up the documentation. Oh yeah, now I remember what all this is doing. It's also great, once again, to cover your ass. I've been in so many meetings where I'm challenged on something by an executive and I go, crap, I don't know the answer to that. And then I go, wait a minute, the documentation is here on the page. I can scroll down to the bottom, pull up my documentation, right, and get a reminder of, oh yeah, okay, like that's what this metric is doing. This is how it's defined. This is what it's trying to convey. Here's some additional notes. Here's some links. All that important stuff that can really cover your ass in those kind of situations where either you didn't create the content or you've just forgotten or whatever it is. Okay, you may have also noticed from this demo, we do our documentation in Domo. So rather than use like Confluence or like, I don't know, Microsoft products or Google products, we just do our documentation right here in Domo. This is a notebook card. Yes, I'm getting nods from the coaches. Notebook card. And with the notebook card, this is why we decided to do it. I mean, Domo is really good, pretty good at everything, but in my opinion, maybe not the best at any one thing. People might disagree with me on that, but it's pretty good at like a lot of different things. And with documentation, we felt like it's maybe not the best tool, but it's pretty good. And then if we do our documentation here, it's all in Domo. So people don't have to leave Domo and go somewhere else, worry about all the access and permission issues, right? If they can access Domo, they can access documentation about Domo. The other thing is I think it's important to have documentation close to the source. It's why you keep like your instruction manual typically like in the box with the product you bought, or you keep it, if it's your microwave, like under the microwave. Like it's kind of nice to have documentation close to the source so it's accessible and you can go and grab it at any moment. The other cool thing about having documentation in Domo is you get to leverage the Domo platform. So BI documentation. So by having it in Domo, we can use Domo stats and Domo governance and do some cool things with it. So you'll see here, this is our BI documentation page. It's our repository of all of our BI documentation. First cool thing, it's searchable, it's filterable. So I can search for a specific title, so I can filter for a certain owner. I can say, is this flagged, yes or no? Flagged means it needs to be reviewed because either it's 100 days old, if it's not tied to content, or a change has happened in the content that the documentation is documenting, right? Super important for us because, as many of you know, you create an ETL and like 3 days later, it's already different. So if you don't update the documentation may be useless. So 100 days if it's process documentation to make sure as a sanity check that like our processes still make sense, that they haven't changed. And then if it's tied to content, such as a data flow or a page, that's triggered by there have been, I removed the review from data flow documentation. Don't remember why. Should have prepped my demo a bit better. But that's okay because even though it's not flagged here, we have, I'm going off on things, but it's okay. This is important. So I'm going to deviate from my presentation. We have workflows, not Domo workflows, but just ETLs and writebacks into Smartsheet that if a data flow is created or if a data flow is changed, after the documentation was created, it will use the writeback connector into Smartsheet, which is our tool we use to run our sprints. Write back into Smartsheet, create a task. All the data comes from Domo, so we know who to assign it to, how to link it, what it's related to, and that's why I removed the data flow flag because we don't need it because it just automatically. And I can probably remove the one for page documentation as well because how often are we checking this stuff, right? Maybe not all the time, but if we use that write back connector to put it right there in our backlog and assign it to us. That will ensure that it gets done. And that's how I think we've been pretty successful at Henry Schein One on our BI team of doing documentation, because I'm kind of like forcing them to. Like, you don't have a choice. There's a task in your backlog assigned to you, and you got to do it. And so that's led us to have 46 processes documented, 423 data flows documented, 78 pages documented, and even recently, is Nathan here? No. Our data scientist has now documented 8 Python scripts that are running in Jupyter workspaces. Has those documented as well. So that's all pretty cool, I think, pretty exciting. I'm pretty proud of our documentation efforts at Henry Schein One. I love also the trust that it builds in the content, right? So a challenge that I've always had, even with certified pages, was identifying like, where are all of my production pages, complete pages, whatever you want to call them. There's so many pages that are just like, you know, half done, or like we're just spun up for like some analysis or whatever. Documentation on a page signals to me that page is complete, that page is in production. That's how I can identify it as a page that's worth looking at. And so that's, I think, an added benefit of having the page documentation and other content documentation is that's like a stamp that this is production ready, this is complete, I feel good about this. I wanted to also just show a couple of the examples of some of the documentation. I gotta be careful on which ones I pick. For example, this is our page documentation. We've just created a template, so it's really easy. I know there was a great session yesterday by Joshua Van Otten where he talked about their template that they have for things going into pages going into production, content going into production. And someone asked a question about like, where is this stored? How is this used? And it's outside of Domo, which presents some problems. Where is that stored? Is everyone storing it the same? With having it in Domo, what I love, and they're doing great things, but what I love about having it in Domo is that we can create a copy. It automatically like follows all of the same, obviously the template, but also all of the same structure, formatting. It goes to the same place. Makes it really easy to just keep it all together, and also to guide you through the documentation so that there's consistency, because I think that's another challenge with documentation. Also, I just realized like how have you ever seen someone so excited like to talk about documentation? This is just a funny moment that I need to take like a mental snapshot of, but I'm very excited about documentation. But having the template makes it easy to walk through, to work through. It guides you through it, so you're not, everyone's doing it slightly differently, and there's no consistency there. So that's really helpful for our page documentation. As you saw earlier, our page documentation lives in the appendix of each page. So people always know where to go to look for page documentation. It's always in the same place. It's also, as I showed on the OKR dashboard, it's also linked up in the top right. So you have a link there to the documentation. You have your UAT details, and then at the very bottom in the appendix, you also have the documentation itself there in the appendix. So you're always looking in the same place, always know where to go. For data flows, I was in an SQL scripting tile alpha, and someone asked some questions about data flow documentation and like what the best way to do that is. I don't think there's necessarily like that we're doing it the best way or the right way, but I promised. Many people reached out to me and were like, well, yeah, tell me more about how you're doing it. I want to see it. So I said, wait till Domopalooza, you can see it there. So I wanted to make sure if they're here, which maybe they're not, wanted to just show how we do data flow documentation to kind of give you an idea, because there are Magic ETL data flows, SQL data flows, Redshift data flows, Adrenaline data flows, dataset views, blah, blah, blah. Lots of different ways, and they're all very different. So in a SQL data flow, your only option is inline comments, right? Which John Lee showed a great example of yesterday in his session on how to do in-code or inline comments. And you can still do that in Magic ETL, but you can also add like a comment, like a text box on the transformation tile. So that right there are two very different ways of adding comments. So those are going to stay the same, but we wanted documentation to be consistent across, doesn't matter your transform tool, the documentation will be the same, even though the notes or comments are varied by your transformation type. So what we did, once again, we have a documentation template for data flows. It looks very similar to our page documentation template. But obviously you're inputting, different things in there, different types of links. We call them branches at Henry Schein One. I don't know if that's like the correct name for ETL splits, but we call them branches. So for your different branches, which in, once again, John Lee's presentation are colors in Magic ETL as we each like a branch. You have branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, and so on. That's our template for documentation. So let's see what one looks like. I should have, see, this once again, me wanting to be very spontaneous and not have everything totally prepped, didn't have a specific piece in mind, but this one works. I built it, so I'm okay showing it. But here you see like step 1 or branch 1, right? It's just like a screenshot of it and an explanation of what it's doing and why we're doing it. You can, of course, also, as I mentioned, do this in, as John showed yesterday, in the tile itself, add a note, add a comment, change the tile name. This is just like one additional step so that people understand what you're doing, where we've just put in a screenshot, explain what's happening, and then add relevant links down at the bottom to like all the inputs, everything that's being used, making sure that that's all packaged up nicely for our documentation. So were this to, if the transformation type here would have happened to have been a SQL transformation, same thing, except we would have, instead of taking a screenshot, copied and pasted in the SQL, rather than like, if it's a screenshot, you can't then once again copy and paste it and reuse it. So for SQL transformations, it would have been more of a copy and paste of certain sections of the code in here so that it's reusable. You can't really do that with Magic ETL tiles. You kind of can with the underlying JSON. But anyway, I need to come up for air because take a breath because I'm getting way off topic. Okay. Let me make sure I got all my documentation points covered. I think so. Could we go back to the PowerPoint to finish up? Okay, key takeaways are on the next slide. For power users, once again, prerequisite training, custom roles, recognize them through achievements, have content standards that they follow, have them be a part of your team. Like, you can't move them in Workday to like functionally roll up to you, but like you can still treat them as if they're part of your team, invite them to events, share best practices, standards, invite them to Domopalooza. I tried to invite as many power users as I could to Domopalooza. We got a lot of them here, which is awesome. Empower them, help them feel like they really are power users and use them. Certified pages in UAT. Once again, UAT ensures trust and accountability, which the accountability piece is once again huge for me. I can point the finger at someone else, which is always great. Makes sure business users have some skin in the game, that they're invested in it. Better customer experience, ensures requirements are met, covers your ass. And then certified pages, once again, provide all the same benefits that other certified content does in Domo. And someday maybe we'll see, a formal process native and a feature of Domo. Currently we don't, which is okay. They got lots of stuff they're working on, like you've been seeing. But we wanted a way to still do it. This was our way. Documentation, once again, keeps, doing it in Domo, which I think is the key point that I wanted to get across, is like we're doing it in Domo. Keeps documentation close to the source, allows you to use Domo stats data to track everything around your documentation, increases data literacy, collaboration, increases productivity, working asynchronously, easier onboarding. Oh, also offboarding. Like if someone leaves and you're like, oh man, what were they doing? Like they win the lottery and they're gone. Crap, what do we do? Documentation that they leave behind ensures that you can keep work moving along, and also helps to prevent duplicative work. Okay, awesome. I have tons of time because I haven't attended every session, but all session I've been in, it's very one-sided, just like you guys asking the presenter questions. I've already talked a ton. So I wanted to see if we could split up some of the time, and I didn't check if this was okay, but I want to ask you guys questions because the value I get out of the demo slams is that I learn cool stuff. so much of this is just like stolen, and like even the title of my thing is like stolen from Donald Farmer in 2020. Like I just like I'm like a sponge, like take the best that I see and like try and soak it up and use it. So this is the way we did it. How are you guys doing it? For those that are doing documentation, how are you doing it? Let's maybe start there. Anyone doing documentation that would be interested and willing to share like what's working for them, what they like, what might be beneficial to others? There's a hand back here.
So the way I looked at documentation, we're of course in IT, we're really diligent on documentation. And the example that you brought up with like Magic ETL versus Redshift or MySQL, right? We're doing the exact same thing. You take a snippet of that particular branch, you kind of explain a little bit, but of course we can always deep link the, say, URL to that data flow for any of us that need to go back within our team. And then to your point, for anything that's SQL, just copy and paste the code. And that's about it, really. May add a little bit of other stuff like the purpose of this, and then, of course, the schema of it. So that kind of helps us understand. And then we also do, like, say, when was it last touched? So we're, say, Google Suite. We kind of deep link everything between there. But, yeah, it's not going to link up with the Domo, but I'm going to take some concepts that you have and kind of embed it within us. But it seems like that you and I are very similar as far as how we document everything. So that's very promising, to be honest.
That's validating for sure. That's I always tell my team, I'm like, I can't be the king with no clothes. You got to like check me and make sure and validate that what we're doing makes sense. And so that's helpful. And glad to know that they're getting some of the same value and some of the same things. What about what else did we talk about? Oh, anyone like attempting page documentation or like distinguishing one page from another in any kind of way? Be curious to hear about that. Yeah, we get right here.
Yeah, most of our documentation is on pages for our users, and we have people leave Domo for it. They go to Confluence, and the reason we like that is just for videos. Typically, a lot of our pages have like drill views and views on views, so people need to see that a couple times, and videos help with that.
I love that, and we do that too. Not to like, we do that too. One up you. No. Something I didn't even think about showing is, yeah, we love that idea. We've done the same. You can see on this page. This page doesn't, you can't see this. Can we go back to the live demo and stay there for a minute? Awesome. So this is our main landing page, which in my opinion doesn't really like need written documentation. So instead, we have a video. I recorded in Loom. It's me talking through the page. Hey, like click here to do this. Like you might be interested in this. This is how you navigate. Especially, this is our main landing page, so this is the first thing everyone sees. So I thought it's particularly important that people know how to navigate this page, know what they're looking at, because it's their maybe first time logging into Domo. It's the first thing they interact with, or they just see it every day and are maybe too nervous to ask or shy to ask. And so that video should hopefully answer their questions. So yeah, love it. Love the video idea. You talked about them leaving Domo to go to the video. You can also, if you didn't know, put video into Domo either as a doc card or, yeah, I think this is actually a brick because you can actually just click that and it'll start playing. So that's a brick to a Loom that I recorded. But yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because yeah, videos are great too.
I hesitate a little to bring this up just because we're just getting started on this, but from our perspective, I like what you've done in Domo, that's cool. But we wanted to have something for users where they could get to documentation and information even if they don't have access to it in Domo. So like they don't know what they don't know what they have access to. So we wanted to provide something where they could say, hey, what dashboards do we have on sales? They could, essentially search this tool that, and like I said, we're just started, so not even really comfortable talking about what it is, but it will pull data from Domo about pages and data flows and things like that.
Sure.
But also some of our other BI tools and things like that as well. So it allows the user to kind of say, hey, look, I'm interested in this. I don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
They can search for it, find out about it, click on it. If they've got access to it, it'll pop up. If it doesn't, it'll tell them who do you need to talk to or how do you get access, that type of thing.
Love it. No, I think that's awesome. And we're all in on Domo. So we used to have also Tableau and like other reporting tools, and we're now all in. So, but we did, we do consider that. I think that's important to consider as well. The access, I think, is important that you mentioned, which is, we took that same consideration and went the other way, which is that, once again, if it's Domo documentation, it should only be relevant to people in Domo. I get visibility is important for executives. For that, we can use publish of our documentation tables, right? We could use Domo everywhere to publish this entire page or any one of these cards to just so people can see what is in there. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. You remember, though, the tables with all the documentation linked in it. Yeah, but I love that comment. Awesome comment. Okay, I wanted to also ask you guys about the other last topic, which was, like empowering your people, putting your internal users to work for you, selfishly, to help you in your roles. Curious how you think about power users, how you've maybe done that effectively. Once again, ideas that I can borrow and utilize. Ashley.
Hopefully I'm not too close to the speaker. So I actually stole a concept of from the community. So we have community, especially over COVID, we had community user group meetings online. And so I stole that for internal, and I have an internal user group meeting. So I take my power users, and I was having monthly meetings, and I would have different departments and different power users highlight what their teams were working on. I would showcase new products, betas that we were getting, or new features that Domo had coming out. And it was just a good way for us to get together, similar how we all do in the community, but internally for us, so all my power users could get together. And then sometimes I would gamify it a bit and do some fun things there with cleanup. So it was just a good way for all of our power users to get together and encourage all of them to kind of share and know that they're not alone kind of in their little areas.
I love it. I love the gamification is real. Obviously, we all know, right, how competitive we get in the Domo community. It's huge. I just looked at the time. John, I know you had a hand, but we only have 3 minutes, 19 seconds left, and I've just been asking all the questions. Do y'all have any questions for me? If not, we'll go back to me asking you guys questions. Yeah, right here.
For the page certification, I noticed on a few of your dashboards you have them locked, but others you do not. Is there a reason behind that?
The page itself is locked?
Yeah. Like on your landing page it was locked, but then on your main dashboard it was open.
The page itself was locked and unlocked, or the documentation was locked or unlocked?
The page was unlocked.
The page, okay.
On the certified dash.
Yeah. Ooh, great. Yes. Well, this is a dumb thing. Executives wanted the ability to go in and edit text, so we had to keep it unlocked so they could go in and edit the text. Because when you lock it, only admins and page owners can edit the text, and so we left it unlocked. Interesting you bring that up, though, and this might be of interest to others. We lock all of our cards and dashboards that the BI team creates. It's actually an automated task that comes in each month, as my team knows, that says, hey, go lock all your cards and dashboards. Probably should do some RPA there and just make it automated, but we do lock all of our cards and dashboards. Unlocked, owned by us, are exceptions. That is the only exception, so that's interesting you caught it, where executives wanted to be able to edit the page.
Have you considered groups?
Yeah, because you can do group ownership, right? Yeah, and so I say executives, but then there's also non-executives that need to be able to edit, because they do, when you give your tasks to other people to do. Delegate. I don't know that word. I never do that, right, team? I don't delegate, so I don't know that word. Yeah, so they can delegate it to non-executives. So it's was kind of weird, so I'm just I'll just leave it unlocked and monitor it.
And do you certify all your cards through the?
No, we don't
Okay.
certify any of our cards. In fact, we wanted to, but after the presentation yesterday by Joshua, I'm like, yeah, that's a huge headache. Why would we do that? We'll just certify a page, and that means everything on it is also certified. So that's probably like news to my BI team because we haven't talked about this. But I'm like, certifying cards, like, kind of a waste. We're just gonna, happy. We're just gonna certify pages and data sets. So, great question.
Yeah, so with the certified. Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, with the certified pages, how do you determine? So you have all this ingestion of data, right? So you got a certified page, it's out there, it's deployed, been out there for 6 months, haven't really visited it. One of those flows of change that's powering your cards. What kind of alert system or do you have so one of your team members knows to go back and change one of the cards on the certified pages?
Yeah.
So how do you know when to circle back when you're constantly moving forward on your certified dashboards?
Great question, and we have an answer that we've not fully implemented. Austin right here. Everyone give Austin a round of applause. He's awesome. He built, gotta embarrass my team as much as I can. He built some awesome checks that for a page, because we do a lot to, right, the certified check mark has a function beyond like visually a cue that it's certified. It also, its card ID in the back end in Domo stats says that means that whole page that card is on is also certified, and that all these cards live on a certified page. And if the data set powering them loses its certification, that will, in the future, be a trigger to say, hey, this page has now lost its certification. Because once again, page certification is not native to Domo. It automatically does this for cards and data sets, but since we had to find this workaround, we also have to find a workaround, which we have found. We just are spread thin and have not had time to implement. But that's our plan, is to use Domo stats to identify that.
Unfortunately, we are at time.
Boo. Wait, I say one more thing. Pitch to the community. I'm active in the community. I'm going to post this recording and everything else you might need in the Domo community, and then you can go there and ask more questions and get access to all of... Yeah, thank you. So there's the QR code again for my LinkedIn. If you forget how to get to the Domo community, just ping me on LinkedIn. But this will all be posted there. So you can review it, ask me questions. And sorry I took up your guys' time, but I'm like a curious person. I want to know how you're all doing it. So anyway, thank you. Thank you.